Hey, day doers, how you doing? I'm Brian Falchuk, for those who don't know, or there it is. Don't see my name written there. You must know who I am because you're seeing this on my Facebook page, so how could you not know? Anyway, none of that has to do with anything why I'm here today. I'm here today because of, I gotta figure out which way this is pointing. That. One vegan day. What is that? Well, I am not ashamed to admit this. I'm about to turn 40 next month. October 19th is my 40th birthday. And I thought, how can I use that day to impact the world a bit? And it came to me through listening to the Rich Roll podcast, which if you haven't heard me go on about it before, you got to go listen. It's by far my favorite podcast, the most impactful thing in my life. And I was listening to another episode. He was with these great Irish twins called the Happy Pair at a live interview or event that they did. And Rich was talking about the impact of animal farming for meat on the environment. And it's not the first time I heard it, but it just really struck a nerve with me. And I think it struck that nerve in the context of my upcoming birthday. And thinking about Rich specifically, for his 51st birthday, he donated his birthday to an organization called Charity Water and raised thousands of dollars for Charity Water, which is a amazing and impressive thing. I donated, and a lot of other people did, and they kept donating, which is incredible. And it just had me thinking, what can I do? What can I do with my 40th? It's a big year. I have been really blessed to build a great following of people who have heard me speak or read my book or listened to the podcast or heard me on other podcasts. And I feel like I got to use that to try to make an impact. And what I was struck with was, this message that Rich was talking about the environmental impact. Of course, I know for myself the health impact of becoming vegan. But then I was reminded, here I am with Rich Roll, having these thoughts. Rewind almost 4 years ago, reading Rich's autobiography, I had similar thoughts, and that's what sparked me to go vegan, was him sort of challenging the reader. He didn't know it was me, but challenging the reader, why aren't you doing this? What's holding you back? And it got me to reflect on what was holding me back. And I had all these excuses about, all these potential situations where it might be really difficult, or where, I would be kind of ostracized socially, like a work event, or, find myself at some business dinner and it's at a steak place and there's nothing to eat, or whatever it is. I had all these what ifs about situations out in the future that may or may not ever happen. And I was using all those in the present moment to keep me from trying it. And for those who know anything about Do a Day, that's kind of the opposite of Do a Day. And actually, it was in that moment where the book, which was just, it was a philosophy. It wasn't a book yet for me. It's how I was living my life. That's where the book got its name. So I said out loud, I realized, this is ridiculous. These are all these future things. None of them's happening right now. And I'm just talking about a day. I can try it for a day. And I said out loud, you can do anything for a day. And that's when I was like, oh, do a day. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So veganism is how my whole philosophy in my book got its name. And I just needed one day to give it a shot. And it didn't matter if the second day was going to be too hard to keep doing it. I just need to do it one day. And you can get through anything for a day. So I did. And it was easy. And I kept going. And it's been almost 4 years. No, I haven't been 100% perfect. I've had moments where I have made choices to eat something other than a vegan food. Typically not meat. I think I've had meat twice in 4.5 years. Once was accidental. So it's been I had a piece of birthday cake at my son's birthday party. Something like that. They were purposeful choices for a reason, and so be it. But I didn't throw everything away. I had another day to get up and do it again and do it right, and that's what I've done. So how could I use my birthday for someone else to have that same experience, and to have that experience for the betterment of themselves, for their health, for the betterment of their finances, which no one ever believes me about that. They're like, oh, vegetables are so expensive. And you know what? They're not. Produce, and especially if you eat whole food, I'm not talking about the supermarket whole foods. I'm talking about just real actual food and not processed fake meat vegan food, but just vegetables and grains and quinoa and rice and nuts and whatever. It's actually a lot cheaper than meat. And meat's not cheap. And neither is dairy, especially if it's not subsidized. So, you start to actually do the math, and you may find you're saving quite a bit of money by being vegan, or at least you're no worse off. And money is often an excuse people give me for not wanting to go vegan. I certainly spend less on my food than I did, when I was eating meat and dairy and all that kind of stuff. So I feel better. It's better for me financially. And that's before you even get into the outside world. What is the impact that you're having on the world? Whether it's ecological, farming animals has a huge impact on the globe. Global warming, soil erosion, water usage. I mean, the list goes on. And I don't want to make this preachy, but there is absolutely a negative impact to raising animals for our consumption on the planet. That's just a fact. So, you can still choose to eat them, but you can't deny that it's having an impact. And the impact is far greater than supplying food to vegans would be. So, an impact on the world. And, quite honestly, from a humane and ethics standpoint, those animals aren't dying. And they're not being raised for meat consumption, which is generally not a great life. And you can say, well, I only eat grass-fed. That's great. Definitely a better life for the animal, but from an ecological standpoint, that's actually far worse because those animals have to live a lot longer before they're big enough to get into the food supply because they're not growing as fast as these animals that are sort of factory farmed. But again, I don't want to get into all the preachiness, like even without looking at those values, just for yourself, give it a day. You got nothing to lose. You can get through a day. So why not try my birthday? October 19th, 2018. My 40th, I'm going to be vegan. I'm taking my whole family out for dinner, and I'm making them go to a vegan restaurant, and it'll be, like the first time that I won't have to figure out what I'm eating. They're going to have to figure out what they're eating. It's actually really easy. So I know my family, at least for dinner, is going to be vegan, and I've added them to the challenge, so let's see if they're up for it, putting them on blast a little bit here. I want to see who can do this, and I'll put some skin in the game. So if people join in, I am going to pick 3 people to win one of 3 awesome books out there. One is Rich Roll's Fighting Ultra. That's what sparked it for me, and it's an incredible story. Anyway, he's a super inspiring guy. Another is Eat and Run by Scott Jurek, who's an ultra runner who is vegan, and as the title would imply, it's about his running story. And then at the end of every chapter, he's got a recipe in there. So it's a little bit of a cookbook plus his life story, which is it's pretty incredible. He's an amazing guy. For those who don't know who he is, he runs these ultra marathons, over 100 miles or more even. Anything over a marathon counts as an ultra marathon, but he runs significantly more than just over 26 miles. And at least for a little while, he held the Appalachian Trail record for the speed to go over the entire Appalachian Trail from Georgia all the way up to Maine. It was beat the year after, but that's the thing about records. And Scott is very embracing of the record falling. He was there to celebrate the finish. So there's no bitterness or anything. He's a great guy. And the last is a cookbook by Shalane Flanagan and Elise Kopecki. I hope I'm saying her name right. It's a vegan cookbook. Shalane, for those who don't know, is an Olympian. She won the New York City Marathon. She has almost won Boston, and I wish she would have won it at least once for the city. She tried to win it the first year after the bombings, and unfortunately she didn't, but man, that would have been awesome. She's actually a native of the Boston area. She's an incredible person, and I was lucky enough, I got to run in a 5K with her, which is pretty cool. But this book is basically her diet, her way of eating that has dramatically improved her recovery and her performance. And it's really cool that she's getting towards retirement and she's kicking butt. Like, she won New York later in her career. She's not old, but it's it's such a competitive sport. Really incredible performance, and she found that her diet that Elise put together really impacted her performance. And I actually haven't gotten to read her book yet. It's called Run Fast, Eat Slow. But it's I know a few people who have, and they were like, oh, it's awesome, really valuable, great stuff, really delicious too. So I do have to read that, but I'm giving that away. And to each of those 3 winners, I will also send you a copy of Do a Day, signed by me with a personal note, just as an added little bonus. One thing is, since this is my 40th, I got to use the number 40. At least 40 people have to sign up for this to work. And all you got to do is go to brianfalchuk.com/oneveganday, and it'll take you to the site. You can just enter your name and email address, so I get a record of it, and I will send you some info as we get closer, and a reminder on the day, and all that kind of stuff. But then the next step is you got to go onto Instagram, and at the end of the day, post a picture. So you have to remember to take them, but post a picture of your meals. You can do it as like one of those picture pane kind of things, all one picture with different shots, or you can post multiple pictures, and you can tag me at Brian Falchuk and tag Do a Day. That's it. And I will pick the winner from the best photos that are on there with those 2 things. Tag me so I can see it, and tag Do a Day so I can see it in the flow of Do a Day hashtagged posts. I'm excited. I want to help the world. I want to have an impact, and I was like, what can I do with my birthday other than just celebrating with my family, which is awesome, but I'd love to use it to something bigger. So, brianfalchuk.com/oneveganday. And you can sign up for the event on my Facebook page as well, and that's got the link there too. But otherwise, that's it. I'll leave you there. I've gone on much longer than I thought I would, but as you can tell, I kind of care about this. It's so easy. You can do it for a day. Totally simple. Do a day. It's the way I live my life. This was the key place that the whole thing got a name and all that, so join me. And if nothing else, I'm going to be 40. That's pretty cool. God, with the way my life was going before and my obesity, I didn't know that was in the cards. I wouldn't say I was actively thinking I'm not going to make it to 40, but the reality is, if I didn't change, that may have been an issue. So it's a pretty cool accomplishment. And you can have a pretty cool accomplishment in the same day. One Vegan Day. Join in. brianfalchuk.com/oneveganday. Thanks, everyone. Have a great, great night. Bye-bye.